Nobody has the slightest doubt that the ocean is huge. In fact, it's so large, we haven't been able to fully explore it. With that being said, you won't be surprised when we tell you that the blue immensity hides the most terrifying creatures. You'll be grateful for the fact that they're hidden in the depths of the ocean, where only those who seek them find them. We know you're not going to be one of those adventurers, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't know what and where they are. Get ready to get chills as we explore the top 5 underwater monsters people found in the ocean. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5, the Ningen. The Ningen, which means human in Japanese, is a colossal creature that was seen by fishermen of the Pacific in the 1990s. These men were surprised by the size of this monster, but the most striking thing was the humanoid form this animal had. According to reports, the Ningen is a creature that measures between 18 and 27 meters long. People who've seen it describe it as a gigantic creature that looks rather like a whale, with slippery and pale skin. The most terrifying thing about the Ningen is that it has a head, torso, and extremities very similar to those of a human. Some witnesses stated that it has a tail like that of a mermaid, with back legs, although others insist that it has some kind of hands with 5 fingers on the ends. These creatures have supposedly been spotted in the Pacific, the Antarctic, and the Atlantic Oceans, and they're always described as being extraordinarily large with a white complexion. It's also said that they have no facial features, but 2 eyes and a large mouth. It seems like we're describing the monster in the movie Pan's Labyrinth, right? According to reports of these sightings, the creatures are mainly nocturnal and they live in the Arctic waters, so you already know the places that you need to avoid. The first reports about these marine beasts date back to the end of the 20th century, which is a strange thing considering that sailors have been crossing the seas all over the world for centuries. And there's not even one description saying exactly what these creatures are. The first time the Ningen was mentioned was in a popular Japanese internet forum known as 2channel. A user posted a comment in which he stated that he was working on a whaling research vessel financed by the government when one of these creatures emerged from the depths. According to the post, the crew member, who remained anonymous, went up to the deck with other investigators to see what looked like a submarine sailing on the horizon. However, when the research vessel approached the strange object, it became evident that it wasn't a metallic structure at all. In fact, it seemed to have life, it breathed, and above all, it was huge. The crew stared in amazement at the creature until it dived moments later. It is said that some members of the research team managed to photograph the enigmatic creature, but apparently the images were deleted in order to preserve the government-funded research. What do you think? Is the Ningen real? It seems that whenever something interesting like this happens, the government always gets in the way. Besides this video where you can see the Ningen, we have nothing else but doubts. Number 4, mantis lobster. The colors of this lobster may seem cute to you, but there's nothing tender about this dangerous crustacean that takes the title of one of the most dangerous creatures in the ocean and proves to be a true threat. So you better get the sharks off your list of dangerous marine predators because this mantis is coming to kick ass without teeth. This may seem hard to believe, but this strange creature attacks its opponents with super punches. They have one of the strongest and most deadly punches scientists have ever seen. So if you thought humans were the only ones who knew how to box, you better think twice. One of the most striking features of these creatures is their surprising strength. Like the praying mantis, it has very strong limbs with which, by quick movements, they capture their prey, piercing or crushing them. It sounds pretty rough, right? It's probably not fun to have such a horrible death like this. But fortunately, and thanks to us, if you get to see one of these in the sea, you know the best option is to go as far away from there as possible. We must admit, the animal looks quite intimidating and above all things, quite strange. Well, almost everything that appears in our countdown today is strange. The speed of the attack is such that it can be compared to the acceleration of a .22 caliber bullet. Pow! Can you imagine that? If by chance the attack fails, the shockwave it produces is such that it can stun the prey so much that it will hardly escape. It's known that some species have broken the glass of some aquariums and that for a few milliseconds they can produce a submarine spark visible only with the appropriate scientific tools. So if you were wondering what was an animal that's so colorful and curious doing in this countdown of monsters, well, now you have your answer. But you can't judge a book by its cover. The mantis lobster doesn't need to measure many inches or have big teeth to earn a well-deserved position in our top 5 today. Number 3, pelican fish. Well, here there are no bright or beautiful colors. The next creature looks like a real sea monster. But don't you think this came from the imagination of an illustrator? This strange and terrifying animal is 100% real, and if it doesn't kill you with its attack, maybe the scare you'll get when looking at it will surely end your life. We present you with the pelicanfish, a creature so ugly and terrifying that it can scare even the bravest. That huge and frightening mouth doesn't inspire a bit of confidence because it really looks quite dangerous. With its mouth closed, it looks more like a ragdoll soaked instead of an efficient high-seas predator, especially with its eyes under the tip of the nose. But once it completely deploys its huge mouth, it's very clear why it has that name. Its way of hunting is quite brutal, but very clever. This is one of those strange fish that is able to shine, so in the darkness of the deep ocean, it takes advantage of this feature to attract innocent victims. The only thing our ugly friend has to do is open its huge mouth. Then, with the help of its luminous tail, it attracts the unsuspecting fish that live in the depth of the sea. And that's it. It swallows them in one bite. Those poor fish don't know what hit them. For a moment, everything is bright, and then bam, there's someone's dinner. At the bottom of the ocean, food doesn't abound, so this ugly fish will eat as much as possible whenever it can. And it has a stomach that's built for that purpose because it can expand and allow the fish to eat anything that comes across its path. Its victims are usually crustaceans and smaller fish. Luckily, humans aren't that deep in the ocean because if we were, I'm sure that would be part of this creature's balanced diet. Number 2. Black Sea Double. Remember the big-toothed fish that was about to eat Dory and Marlin in Finding Nemo? Well, we regret to inform you this horrendous and dangerous fish isn't the product of anyone's imagination. This monstrous animal really lives in the depths of the sea, and it's uglier and more intimidating than you might have thought. The abyssal or devilfish, also known scientifically as Melanocetus johnsoni. This species is called that because of a small lamp that allows it to illuminate the dark depths in which it lives. But that small and tender bulb doesn't make it look better. Rather, it makes it seem a little more frightening because when it lights up, the face looks really ugly. It seems all the time it was ready to attack. It looks really threatening, in fact. If there's one feature that catches the attention about this animal, it's the ability to generate light through bacteria that get stuck to it. Note that this isn't a unique species. It's become a category to name the strange marine animals of the depths, which means there are more of these ugly fish in the bottom of the sea, and we aren't sure if we want to keep seeing more of them. There's a reason why they're at the bottom of the sea, and it's better to keep it that way for a long time. One of the things that concerns us most about this strange animal are its sharp and disorganized teeth. It seems that with one bite they could tear out a hand, right? There's something very interesting about these fish, and it's that males can't live without females. And we're not talking about a romantic thing. The males stay close to the females to be able to feed themselves since they can't get their own food. They'll look tough, but they're not very independent. But there is something that's going to scare you a little. The fish has the ability to also survive on land for up to 14 hours. So if one day it gets tired of starving in the ocean, it may go to the mainland and go after you. So you better keep your guard up. Number 1, Sea Venus flytrap. In case you don't know, there's a carnivorous plant called the Venus flytrap, and the truth is quite ugly and terrifying. Although it doesn't eat humans, its hunting method is quite interesting. It has the shape of a mouth with teeth, so it traps its prey and devours them. But if this sounds weird to you, wait until you see the Sea Venus flytrap. It takes terrifying to a whole other level. To begin, the strangest and most bizarre thing about this marine creature is that it's completely transparent, and yes, it gives chills just to see it. In addition, its movements are slow, and it seems it was ready to attack at any moment. Luckily for us, it's not something we can find on a regular beach day, since this marine plant inhabits about 900 meters deep. Good for us. Paralysis is among its defense mechanisms. It uses its tentacles to paralyze possible predators or to capture its prey. That is to say, whoever or whatever crosses the path of this strange creature awaits a certain death. And if it weren't already quite strange, this plant also has the ability to eject a liquid that shines. Science don't know very well what these plants use this liquid for, but most believe it's some kind of a defense mechanism. This creature could really be part of your nightmares because it's really ugly and it looks quite intimidating. It can open its mouth a lot, and it's always on the lookout for something to eat. In fact, they're ready to catch it and they're going to have their good dinner, whether you want it or not. These strange creatures are found in the waters of the Atlantic, both in the Gulf of Mexico and in Ireland, the Azores, the Canary Islands, Morocco, Mauritania, Sahara, and Nigeria. So, you already know where to go if you want to run into one of these things. Well, only if you're ready to see something like that face to face, of course. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting listed videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link at the description to the channel, so make sure you come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on the screen right now. Oh, and have you visited thefinestpost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read? If not, click the link in the description. Anyway, we'll see you next time.